Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. So I am Hanan bin Hadda and I'm going to present today learner autonomy. The outline of my presentation as follows. First, a definition of learner autonomy. Second, the characteristics of autonomous learners. Then, the importance of learner autonomy. And finally, two research examples within the Algerian context. The term learner autonomy was first coined in 1981 by Henry Hollick, the father of learner autonomy. Many definitions have since been given to this term, depending on the writer, the context, and the level of debate educators have come to. Some of the most well-known definitions in present literature are: autonomy is a situation in which the learner is totally responsible for all the decisions concerned with his or her learning and the implementation of the recognition of those decisions. Autonomy is a recognition of the rights of learners within educational systems. Learner autonomy is defined as learners' ability to take charge or control of their own learning. Characteristics of autonomous learner. There are 7 main attributes cited by Omagio in 1998. Autonomous learners have insights into their learning styles and strategies. Autonomous learners take an active approach to the learning task at hand. They are willing to take risks. Autonomous learners are good guessers. They tend to form as well as to content that is place important on accuracy as well as appropriacy. Autonomous learners develop the target language into a separate reference system and are willing to revise and reject hypotheses and rules that do not apply. Autonomous learners have a tolerant and outgoing approach to the target language. Why is learner autonomy important? There are 4 main advantages to becoming an autonomous learner. First, learner autonomy solves the problem of learner motivation because autonomous learners are motivated and reflective learners. Second, the skills required in autonomous learning are ones which will be needed in future, for example, in the workplace or companies, because that efficiency and effectiveness of the autonomous learner means that the knowledge and skills acquired in the classroom can be applied to situations that arise outside the classroom, not only in the classrooms. Third, autonomy is a basic human need that is relevant to learning as any other aspect of life. Finally, since autonomous learners are more proactive in their learning, they will usually succeed, even though they may not always feel positive toward their learner or sometimes back motivation. 2 research examples within the Algerian context. I found these 2 dissertations. The first is undertitled "The Notion of Learner Autonomy in the Algerian EFL Classrooms: The Case of 4th Year Pupils in Getafe Mansour Middle School, Al Bayed", presented by Mrs. Zohra Qadi in 2017 to 2018. The context of this research. The research is concerned with learner autonomy in the Algerian EFL context in general and middle education in particular. The aim of this study is to discover to which extent the notion of learner autonomy exists in our middle schools. The present investigation is carried out under 3 main research questions. The first one: is the notion of learner autonomy well respected and implemented in Algerian middle schools? The second question: are the Algerian EFL teachers ready to make their learners more autonomous? The third question mentioned in this dissertation is: what are the main hindrances that impede both EFL teachers and learners while implementing and fostering the notion of learner autonomy in Algerian EFL classrooms. The hypotheses of this research are: learner autonomy is still considered as a new concept in the Algerian educational context. Therefore, its implementation is difficult for both teachers and learners in middle schools or in middle education. The second hypothesis is the Algerian EFL teachers often find themselves confused about the strategies which make their learners more autonomous. The third hypothesis mentioned: both teachers and learners are facing various difficulties in implementing and promoting learner autonomy. The instrument of this research was collecting data through a questionnaire and classroom observation. In addition to these instruments, the research takes an interview with an inspector of English language. While the second research example is under title Promoting Learner Autonomy in an EFL Context, Learners' Readiness and Teachers' Rules, the case of first-year pupils in secondary education in Algeria. This dissertation presented by Ms. Khaira Hadi in 2011-2012. This research is concerned with learner autonomy in formal language learning context. It is a case study designed to investigate learners' readiness for autonomous learning. The purpose of the study is to discover whether or not pupils attending English language in secondary school are ready to take on an autonomous language learning. The present investigation is carried out under 4 research questions. The first question is: are first-year pupils in secondary education ready to be involved in autonomous learning? Second question: how do learners perceive their own and their teachers' responsibilities in learning English? The third question: are they using learning strategies that help them become more independent from the teacher? The fourth question: in what ways can learner autonomy be fostered in an EFL context? The hypothesis of this research as follows. First-year pupils are not yet ready to be involved in autonomous learning. Their over-reliance on the language teacher is the main cause of this behavior. Pupils consider the teacher as more responsible in the learning-teaching process. The reason why they may be reluctant to take responsibility. It means they have teacher-dependent learning characteristics. The third hypothesis is learners generally do not know which strategy to select and how to use them in order to learn English independently. The fourth hypothesis: autonomy can be fostered only if learners change their attitudes towards the language learning and if both teachers and learners have autonomy-oriented training. As for this research instruments, the researcher used a questionnaire for teachers and pupils, classroom observation, and an interview with the General Inspector of English. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time. I hope it was useful. Thank you.